Thanks for checking out this Web Extra from my conversation with Iowa congressional candidate Christina Bohannan. We didn't have time to bring you all of my interview on For the Record. That part of our discussion takes a look at some recent Supreme Court decisions. One of your specialties as a professor is in constitutional law, and it's been quite a year for the Constitution with Supreme Court rulings like the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe versus Wade, a ruling that limits the Environmental Protection Agency's ability to regulate the energy industry. And the court struck down laws in states that have tight restrictions on carrying guns in public. It's been a swing to the right, as we all know. What policies would you pursue in response to the recent court rulings, or do you let the court have the final say?
Well, you know, with the court, it's always a push and pull, and the Supreme Court makes its decisions and then lawmakers respond. And so I think that what we need to be focused on now is how we respond, how Congress responds to some of these rulings. And so what we know absolutely is that the Republicans in Congress are championing an abortion ban across the country. Marionette Miller Meeks co-sponsored a bill a few months ago that is a life at conception bill. It would ban abortion across the entire country with no exceptions for rape, incest, or to save the life of the mother. And it would take place right at conception. So that means that the moment of conception, a woman loses all of her rights over her body, over her privacy, over her freedom. And that is fundamentally at odds with where Americans are and fundamentally at odds with where Iowans are. And so what we have to focus on now is how we respond to that Supreme Court decision. And we need to know that what the Republicans are doing right now is that they are very focused on enacting an abortion ban throughout the country. That will happen if they are elected and if they get a majority. And rather than that, we should be focused on making everyday Iowans and everyday Americans' lives better. We should be giving them more choices, not fewer choices. We should be increasing their freedom and their safety and security, not reducing it.
Do you see abortion being something that should be addressed in Congress or state by state?
Well, I think that with, frankly, I think that we are going to have to address it at the federal level because we know that that's the Republicans' plan. We know that if they get control, they are planning an abortion ban. So it's going to happen probably at the federal level no matter what. And so I think that the states can still be free to do certain things. I mean, if for example, if we were to codify Roe versus Wade and take us back to the law that existed before the Supreme Court overruled Roe versus Wade in the Dobbs decision, then what would happen at that point is that the states would still be free to put some restrictions and exceptions as they always have been. Roe versus Wade has never been a complete rule. It allows for certain restrictions and exceptions. And so if we did go back to Roe versus Wade, as it has been for 50 years, the states could still do some of that.
The other issues I brought up relating to the court were the Environmental Protection Agency limits as well as gun laws. Do you see those as more state issues to be addressed, or again something that should be done at the congressional level?
Yeah, again, I think that on the gun issue, I do think that the Senate bill that came through a while back that did create more school security, more mental health resources. It gave incentives for red flag laws and things like that. I think that those were all very good moves. I do think that there's always going to be some freedom for states to also decide some issues, but I think that those fundamental things were good for the country, and I think that they have widespread support. So I think that those will help to make communities safer while not really reducing freedom for lawful gun owners to have firearms. I'm a gun owner myself. I grew up in the South. I grew up with a hunting family, and so my firearm is actually one of my most cherished possessions because my dad gave it to me. It's one of the things I have left of him, and so I have no problem with lawful gun ownership at all. And I think that all of the gun owners I talk throughout Iowa, they want responsible gun ownership too. They are just as concerned with the gun violence and the other things that that we're seeing, you know, lawful gun owners in Iowa do not want to see children gunned down in their schools. So the people I have talked to, including and maybe even especially sometimes the gun owners, they want to see some of these common sense measures taken. I think that what has been passed at the federal level now is a good step. And I think that there will always be, though, some room for states to maneuver as well.
Iowa Congressional candidate Christina Bohannan. That's a long campaign. Hope to talk to you again before Election Day.